I'm Steve LePage, and I'm going to be serving as the Master of Ceremonies for this event tonight. UMD and me go back quite a ways, and I'm going to get to that in just a minute. But first, I'd like to provide a really brief update of what I've been doing with myself recently. For almost the past 9 years now, I've been a sales manager over at AMSOIL in Superior, Wisconsin. AMSOIL is a rapidly growing synthetic oil company. I think a lot of you are probably familiar with the company. For those of you who are not, all you have to do is gander over at that beautiful brand new arena on the lake shore and look up at that nicely lit neon sign that says AMSOIL on the outside. We're very, very proud of the fact that AMSOIL won the naming rights for the new arena. And it's great that our name is on the home of the UMD men's and women's hockey team. So probably the best marketing move that our company ever made. Prior to my going to AMSOIL to work back in 2004, for 24 years I was the sports director at WDIO TV here in Duluth. So let's see, 1981 I came to Duluth to take that job. So if my Minnesota math is right, that's almost 33 years ago. And a lot of time has passed, but I tell you what, a lot of things are still very, very fresh in my mind. And if I could, I'd like to share a very quick story about the third day I was on the job with my job at WDIO. That particular morning, I was actually just a couple of blocks from here at Ed Barbo's clothing store picking up a new suit. And as I was leaving the store and heading to my car, about a half a block away, I noticed this gentleman who was making a beeline in my direction. He was dressed in a light blue sports coat, checkered pants with a white belt, and white shoes. That man was the late, great Marsh Nelson. Now, I had never met Marsh before, and I was just here for my third day. I had heard a whole heck of a lot about him. He was a legend up here. In fact, a lot of people referred to him as Mr. Sports in the Twin Ports. And it's just going through my mind, I'm thinking to myself, here he is, Mr. Sports in the Twin Ports, and he recognizes me out in front of Superior Street, my third day here in Duluth, and took the time to come up and offer his congratulations on me getting the job, introduced himself, and welcomed me to the community. And I'll tell you what, I was totally blown away. I was thinking to myself, I might like it here. And Marsh told me one thing that day that I remember to this day and will never forget. He said to me, Steve, he says, the number one thing that you have to remember as you start your broadcasting career here in Duluth, Minnesota, is never say no to a free meal. I took his advice. I took advantage of many free meals over my 24-year career in broadcasting, and I'm still taking his advice because I'm right here tonight. So thanks, Marsh. But seriously, free meal or not, I'm very, very excited to be here, honored to be here. During my career at WDIO, I obviously got to experience thousands and thousands of great memories and great contests at UMD. I got to know so many iconic athletes, coaches, and personalities. And I got to cover a lot of great things. I got to cover multiple UMD Women's National Championship hockey championships. Thank you, Maria. There were so many other great events too, and I can't go and name those at this point right now. Unfortunately, I left WDIO before the men's football team won their 2 national championships. The men's hockey team won their national championship after I left. So I did not get to cover those great events, and I have a little bit of regret about that, but I did get to experience them and watch them and enjoy them from a totally different perspective. And I have to admit that I cried all 3 times. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that even though I'm no longer covering UMD on a daily basis, I still feel very invested in the programs. And if you will indulge me for just 1 minute, I'm going to do a little wardrobe change here. Just want everybody here to know that I am, and I always will be, a UMD hockey fan, UMD Bulldog fan. And that's really what this is all about. That's why it's so special for me to be here tonight. So thanks to UMD for inviting me back, and let's all enjoy a great evening as we honor 6 outstanding former athletes here at UMD. This is the 16th enshrinement ceremonies. The UMD Hockey Hall of Fame actually inducted its charter class back in 1991. That was exactly 61 years to the day after the first Bulldog athletic event, and that was a football game at Northland College. Tonight we will reach 115 members in the Hall of Fame. And it's particularly special tonight for the fact that the Athletic Hall of Fame will welcome its first women's hockey player, its first soccer player, and its first full-time golfer. A reminder to everybody, too, that the annual Hall of Fame football game tomorrow at 6:05 at Molosky Stadium, it's going to be a dandy against defending NSIC champion Minnesota State Mankato. The Bulldogs currently ranked 7th in the country in Division II. The Mavericks number 2 in the nation. So this is going to be two national powers colliding on our home turf. So let's get a huge crowd out there tomorrow night. And UMD will also be looking to add to its school record 41-game NSIC home winning streak. So a lot on the line. If you're looking for something to do tomorrow afternoon at Molosky Stadium, the UMD soccer team will host NSIC rival Upper Iowa. Well, I mentioned that the Hall of Fame fraternity is going to be 115 strong after tonight. I know that there are a lot of current Hall of Famers here with us tonight, so if you would, everybody who is a current Hall of Famer, please stand. Come on, get up. Great to have you all here. This really is a great fraternity. All right, to help kick things off tonight, a man who really hit the ground running as UMD's new Director of Intercollegiate Athletics last May, and I'm assuming he still hasn't stopped running to this day. Ladies and gentlemen, my pleasure to introduce Mr. Josh Burlow.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the 16th Hall of Fame. I couldn't be more excited to be a part of this. What a special night. Great to see so many current former Bulldogs and all of those that help make this stuff happen. And absolutely big weekend. So we're off to an amazing start. We are actually undefeated in Division II head-to-head competition in our sport. So Kurt, no pressure. None at all. Don't worry about it. We're good there. So first and foremost, congratulations to the honorees. It's a historic night. This is a special night. This is more evidence of why UMD athletics, our Bulldog athletic traditions, are so special. The 115 inductees that we have, the accomplishments that they have made, have built our special brand and what makes us different from a lot of institutions, and quite frankly, why I was so excited to become a part of it. So I really wanted to keep this short, simply welcome everybody. Tonight is about the honorees. I look forward to spending some time with everybody in the room, and enjoy, have fun, celebrate these special moments, and know that there are plenty more to come. So have a great night. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Josh. All right, let's get started. Our first presenter is one of the most recognizable figures in women's collegiate and international hockey, and in her 15 years with the Bulldogs has won more national championships than any head coach in NCAA history. Ladies and gentlemen, Shannon Miller.
Good evening. First, I'd just like to say congratulations to all the superstars that we're inducting into the Hall of Fame tonight and their coaches. What an honor. It's my privilege to be able to introduce to you Maria Ruth tonight, the first ever female hockey player being inducted into our Hall of Fame. So it's a pretty special night for our program and obviously for Maria. Maria is a very special young woman. Not so young anymore. She's a grown woman with a child, but she's a very special young lady to me. And Maria joined our program at a very special time. Maria was part of the very first ever recruiting program, or recruiting class. So Maria was part of the very first 4 years of UMD women's hockey. And when Maria moved here from Sweden, she linked arms and she linked minds with many other very special young women. And some of those women are here tonight. Her recruiting class was a special group of people, and that era, that time period has never been duplicated and will never be duplicated. A very, very special group. For the people that are in the room tonight, other than Maria, would you please stand if you were part of the first 4 years of the UMD women's hockey program? Thank you. When Maria moved here from Sweden, she said to me, "Coach, I feel like home. This is just like my home in Sweden." And she meant it. And Maria was not only just a superstar athlete, Maria was a superstar academic. She excelled in the classroom. And Maria was a superstar in the community. She was the kind of person and player that reached out into the community and touched their hearts. And she warmed the hearts of many Duluthians. And in turn, the community embraced Maria Ruth and touched her heart. Maria has told me that those 4 years that she played here at UMD and was a student athlete are some of the most significant and special years of her life, and they always will be. One person I'd like to recognize that's here tonight that was also a part of our first era, somebody from the community that embraced Maria Ruth, and Maria has embraced her, our grandma, for all of us, Ginny Johnson. Those first 4 years were a special time, special people, and like I said, never to be duplicated again. But tonight, it's my honor, my privilege to introduce to you superstar Maria Ruth.
Thank you, Shannon. That was quite the introduction. I'm super happy to be here. We traveled quite a long time to get here, but it's worth it. I think it's fun to be back. I love Duluth, and actually one of my best memories of my career happened here in Duluth. It was in 2003. We played the final here at the deck. It was packed in the stands. It was 6,500, I think, chanting for us. I get goosebumps just thinking about it. It was a magical moment, and we beat Harvard, I think, in the second overtime. And that ended my career here in Duluth, so it couldn't have been a better end of my college days here. When I was a little girl, I always wanted to play hockey. My parents never thought it was weird. I was the only girl among 600 boys back at home in my hometown. They drove me to practice every day. Games, tournaments, they were always there. So even if they're not here today, I would like to extend a huge thank you to them, because I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for them. came to Duluth, I was probably a little bit inexperienced, maybe a little bit of a selfish player. I was used to play with maybe not as skilled players. So when I came here, I remember Shannon telling me, Maria, maybe you need to start passing the puck. You will get it back, she said, and I'm like, are you sure? That's when I realized that I'm playing with superstars. I'm playing with really good players. I played with Carolyn Ouellette from Canada. I played with Erica Holst, Tula Papudi, Hannah Sikio. I can mention a ton of them. Julianne. I played with so many good players. So the fact that I had a good career is very much so because of the players that I played with. I had best 4 years of my life here in Duluth until I met my wife and had a wonderful baby that's here somewhere. And I got to play for the best team I've ever played for and the best coaching staff. Shannon, I've never had a better coach, and obviously now I will never have a better one, but I don't think there is one. I had an awesome time with you on the bench. But like I said, I played with good players, so this award is also going to them. Without them, yeah, I probably wouldn't be here having a good career. So thank you to all of you. And also Shannon's success with this program actually also had a good success for my national team, Sweden. We played many tournaments, but it wasn't until 2006 when we, I think, both me and Erica, we brought back a lot of the things that she had taught us, how to win, how to get confidence. And I think we brought that back to our team. In 2006, we played in Torino. We played the Olympics there. And our team just decided before the semifinal game that this was going to be our day. We were going to win. We had lost 60 games in a row against the US. So we finally beat them. We finally did. We got to the final, and we lost against Canada 4-1, but it was this thing that we beat them finally. And we beat them 3-2. I got to score all the goals, so I was pretty happy about that. But the point of the story is my mom was sitting in the stands, and right after the game she came up to, I think, Mimo, because you were there, Turunen, and she wanted to use her phone, she wanted to call Shannon, to thank Shannon for what she's done to the Swedish program. And it took me some time to realize what she meant, but yeah, Shannon has had a huge impact on both me but also Team Sweden's success, so thanks Shannon for that. I have so many people to thank, I probably can't line them all up, but I mean, I had a great experience at the school, the teachers were great to me, the friends that I made, awesome friendship that I still have today. I have friends all over the world from my college career. And I got to play with super fantastically skilled players. And I probably will never play with a better team, just like I said. And all these things contributed to my success. So I owe all of them a huge thank you. And today I'm fortunate enough to actually use my education that I got from here. I'm working as a marketing coordinator at home at a company called Linda. We do ventilation and stuff like that, so if you ever need help, just we have the best ventilation. Yeah, that's just the one. Yeah. I would like to extend a special thank you to you, Catherine, because you brought Shannon here, and Shannon was the one that recruited me here. So you've always believed in the women's hockey program, so thank you. And also, again, I want to thank you, Ginny, and also Doc Joe, that unfortunately passed away a couple of years ago. Again, oh, sorry. Yep, that's my baby. Again, it's such an honor to be here tonight, and thank you so much. This is a milestone not only for me, but for the program, and I hope there's many more to come. Lastly, I would like to thank my family for coming. It's a long way to travel, so I'm happy you guys said yes to that. So, again, thank you very much.
Thank you, Maria, and congratulations to you. All right, our second presenter has presided over the Bulldog women's soccer program since it became an intercollegiate sport back in 1994. Next weekend, he will be heading into a Hall of Fame himself at his alma mater of St. Scholastica. Please welcome Mr. Greg Kane.
Welcome everyone, and congrats to the other inductees. Maria, it was good to see you again, and hopefully it's not as long next time. It's quite fitting that I'm presenting a soccer player for induction because it's women's soccer 20th season at UMD. Jen Warwick's induction is certainly a fitting tribute to our 20th season. I'm thrilled to have this chance to present soccer's first player to join the Bulldog Hall of Fame. Last year, Bob Nygaard mentioned the Hall was due for a soccer player, and he asked me to think of a few candidates. I didn't think at all. I said Jen Warwick. Jen is the most impactful player of the 20 years of Bulldog soccer. She has impacted our program since her first day here. Her contribution is known today, but will be felt for years to come. On the field, on the stat sheet, in the clutch, in class, as a graduate, as a PhD, as an instructor at UMD, as a volunteer coach for our team, as a wife, as a mother, as a friend. She has had tremendous impact on our program. Before Jen came to UMD, our team had success in the few years before because we had talent. I knew we needed character to continue building the program and to maintain the quality that we had established. She had both the talent and the character to do that. She delivered those qualities and has served as a cornerstone for our program ever since, and in style. In '97, UMD started prospecting the best students in the state by offering a half tuition 4-year scholarship to anyone who was #1 in their class. Thank you, Chancellor Martin. I knew there were girls soccer players that would fit the bill. Ironically, Jen contacted me with her interest very shortly after that, so I went to see her play. Perfect. She was the fastest, fittest, most dangerous player on the field that night. Perfect 4.0, top of class. She fit the bill perfectly. Once the scholarships got lined up, all I had to do was get past Jim and Laura, her mom and dad. He made me sweat, but we're very good friends today. I greatly appreciate Jim and Laura's trust in me for the career I had planned for Jen, and it worked out quite well. Jen wanted to be a TV anchor. Okay, I said. So impressed with her GPA, I said, I just want to know what you're going to do when you get the first B in college. Cry, I suppose, she said. Her junior year, she entered my office one day with tears in her eyes. We both nodded, knowingly it was a B+. She still became a 2-time scholar, All-American. She didn't start soccer until she was 12 years old. Pretty unusual for a girl in the last 20 years in America. She played 9th grade volleyball, not soccer. And she started soccer in the 10th grade in high school. If you look at the pictures of her playing, you can see her focus, her intensity, and her drive. She broke off the right side of the field like a bolt. Team benches would stand, and fans would get to the edge of their seat when they saw her breaking on the right. She had a hard, low, very penetrating shot to the far post. In soccer, that's as good as it gets. It's the high percentage play. And that was Jen. She was a high percentage play all the way. Her real threat, however, was in her play in the air. No one could out-jump her, and her heading technique was pure and powerful. In her final season, she struggled a bit statistically. Teams had started to key on her, by that time. We had a little more balance on our attack, so the wealth got spread a little bit, Jen. Her redemption, however, would come that year in the end. In 3 tournament playoff games, she had 3 game winners, both goals in a 2-0 final against our rival Winona State, and both goals coming on dominating headers. And of course, she was the tournament MVP. Jen will be gracious when she's up here. She'll tell you it was about the team and we had good players and systems. Maybe so, but she still holds records, and her impact is felt in the performance of our excelling student athlete soccer players today. Jen's contributions are quite worthy and fitting for this induction. Congratulations, Jen.
Well, that was certainly quite the introduction, so thank you, Greg. I appreciate that. This is an honor that Greg recently reminded me comes with age. Last year, I asked if I could help out with the team, to which he kindly replied, "We'd love to have you." Well, as I stepped forward to give my little inspirational speech and introduce myself, Greg from the back of the crowd gives a little heckle and says, "Jen, do you realize that your kids are closer in age to these ladies than you are?" Well, I honestly hadn't thought about it until that moment, but I did a little quick math and quickly replied, "Actually, it's an even split." Well, another year has passed and it's no longer an even split. I still see myself as a player, like the young women who give their passion, energy, and commitment and good humor to practice and embrace the challenges of competition. I am grateful for my time at UMD and grateful to still be a part of the program, and I'm honored to accept this award on behalf of all the women who have bonded through sweat, tears, laughs, and triumphs on the Bulldog pitch. We all have our stories and our memories of successes, failures, and our hard work. I'll share a few of mine, some important lessons and influences, and also some thoughts on Bulldog athletics. Times like this certainly evoke memories, and I have a few. I suppose those of us who have been competitive athletes have memories of big games, big goals, or big saves. And those are there, but mostly they fade, especially when you played in the time of VHS and not instant video via mobile device. What I remember is the camaraderie of being the young one, then suddenly being the old one, but always being a part of a team. I remember laughing at random things Greg would say at practice that would kind of just make us stop and pause and take stock of where we were and to be appreciative of what we were doing. I remember bonding with the team in towels and swimsuits at the Take the Plunge themed homecoming parade as a freshman, at Lindsay Kohler's cabin, at a ropes course, and also hanging with my big sister, Aid. I remember setting goals as a team and working hard to get there, to beat Winona, to win conference championships, to shoot for nationals. The memories I have of soccer are of friendships, of teamwork, challenges, and successes, experiences that taught life lessons. These are the memories that last, and these are made possible by the support we receive from those around us. I have received a lot of support through the years, from family, coaches, teammates, and friends. And one story sheds light on how the support may be shown in many ways. I recently recalled a childhood experience during a conversation about sports and athletics, passion, and competitive attitudes. I talked about how my dad and I would run from the time I was 11 years old or so. At the end of every run, we would race, sprint, full out as fast as we could. It was a challenge, initiated by my dad, but embraced wholeheartedly by me. Some people might perceive this as a little extreme, but I didn't think it was extreme. It gave me what I needed, a push, a challenge. And it taught and reinforced a very valuable lesson, that when you're out, push a little harder. When you get behind, dig a little deeper, work, to achieve just a little more than you thought possible. I see this in the team now, and it makes me really excited and proud to still be a part of it. This lesson has carried me through life. and has been adjusted as my perspective on achievement has changed. Achievement now means getting out the door in the morning with 2 little kids on time and without a meltdown. That's a good day. And while this lesson, to dig a little deeper, if even just for an extra deep breath in the morning, is sometimes tough to follow, that lesson and support from those around us makes moments like this possible. Again, it is a privilege and an honor to be here tonight, and I am grateful to be a part of the tradition of UMD athletics, of an amazing team with a rich history and good, ethical, caring people behind it. I am grateful for the opportunity to play at UMD, to learn about life, about teamwork, and about myself. And I am grateful for the people in my life who have supported me along the way. My parents and family, a dad who taught me to push a little harder, a mom who got me to games and practice on time, and siblings and aunts who came and watched in the baking hot July sun and cheered, even if they were wishing they were really in the air conditioning. My husband, who did make it to a few games in his day, although hockey tended to start a little early, so he skipped out on a few. One, I think, even dressed in drag, although we weren't dating at the time. My kids, Hayden, who is here tonight, and I'm so excited to share this name with him, and Campbell, who if she was here, would definitely ratchet up the volume a little bit. Greg and Patty, who are 2 of the most generous people that I know. Kelly, Wheeler, and the team who make me laugh and remember what it was like. And my friends, many of whom I met as an undergrad at UMD. I am so glad to have you here tonight. All of these people make moments like this more meaningful. The efforts of many over the years have led us to a point where Bulldog Soccer in its 20th year could be honored in this truly meaningful way. Thank you for letting me be a part of it.
Well said, Jen. Congratulations. Our next presenter helped anchor the Bulldog infield during the late 1990s, and this evening he has the honor of introducing his good friend and a former baseball teammate. Ladies and gentlemen, Kyle Kreidermacher.
Good evening. It's truly an honor to be here to introduce Chris Lomkevich into the Hall of Fame, who, by the way, is the first baseball player, full-time baseball player to be inducted into the Hall of Fame, which is a very proud moment for everybody close to the program for us. But earlier this week, I was reading through a bunch of articles from when we played. And a lot of the quotes that I heard from the articles, both from HB and from other players, were how successful we were. As I was saying, a lot of the articles that I was going over talked about we had 2 of the better years in program history, the last 2 years that we played. And a lot of the quotes that were mentioned were not our talent, but how well we got along as a team. And I think you're going to hear that hopefully in Chris's speech. But a lot of the other speeches that we've already heard and we will hear yet tonight are the relationships that you build and the friendships that you build when you're in college athletics. And that's what truly makes teams successful. Now, yes, Chris had plenty of pitching records at UMD, but it was his personality that was a big part of our team's success. Now, was he our captain? No. We had good leaders like Matt Johnson, Craig Lieber, Pat Jolston, Ryan Skubik, Jed Meyer. They were our leaders. Now, if Chris would have been captain, I think he would have drove HB crazy every single day. Did he lead by example? Maybe not. He was the guy on the bench in between his innings and his pitch. He had his own cooler sitting right next to him. Inside that cooler was a liter bottle of Pepsi, liter bottle of Mountain Dew. Nobody could explain it, but it worked. Chris's contribution to our team was his carefree attitude and his confidence when he went out on the mound. He kept our entire team loose. And his confidence that when he went out onto the mound carried over into the rest of our team. Not only on the games that we went out there when he was pitching, were we sure we were going to win, but it carried over into the second game of the doubleheader, into the next day after that. And that was a key reason why we had two of the best years in the program's history. So it's my pleasure to introduce to you my good friend, Swan, Chris Marquette.
First, I'd like to say thank you. It's an honor being up here. Didn't really expect it when I first came into college. I came in as a walk-on baseball player, and I was actually scheduled to go to St. Cloud State. And about 3 weeks before school started, HB gave me a call. He's like, "Hey, I heard you had a pretty good high school career. Let's come up and let's talk to Turkey." That's what he told me. I'm like, good enough for me. So I came up, went for a school visit. I was like, well, school starts in 3 weeks. I can't apply, get it all done. He's like, just get your application in and, let's see what happens. And so sure enough, I applied. I came up here. He guaranteed me a spot as a walk-on, and I'm like, that's fine. I just want to play baseball. So that's how my career got started here at UMD, and it ended up being pretty good. I met some of my best friends, Kyle, the current head coach of baseball, Bob. We got a lot of memories. Most of them aren't for this room, but we got a lot of memories. I give my success to the guys I played with. I mean, like Kyle said, all we want to do is have fun. We didn't know what we're doing. I mean, UMD for Duluth baseball is not what you think it's going to be. Like, we're not expected to go out and dominate. They didn't have the great track record. They had some great years, but it was always, when I came up here, it's Winona, Winona, Winona. They always seem to win the division, and we just said, let's have fun, let's see what happens. And we came back and we ended up sticking to them a couple times, which was probably our greatest success, is winning the conference tournament at Winona by beating them, on the last day to last game. So that was probably our best success. We went on the conference tournament and we did all right. We didn't do as good as we should have done, but it was fun. But growing up with these guys, it all just brings back so many memories thinking about it when I got the nomination. And I remember I was like a sophomore walking through the hallways, and I remember seeing Brett Hall's plaque up there. And he was like, the one guy I could pick out of there that I knew, and I was like, yeah, someday they should just put mine right next to that. Joking, but seriously, put it right next to that. But it's truly a great honor to be up here, and I wish I could bring back the whole team, getting the band back together. It'd be fun to have them all up here, and we could go out and, cause some havoc after this, and, but I got to see them a lot. We just had our golf outing, so I got to see a lot of them there, but again, truly it was all just, let's have fun and see what happens, and apparently this happened for me, and I'm grateful. Never expected it. Went on to do some more stuff, never expected any of that. I was just a guy who liked to play baseball. So I appreciate it, and I won't keep this long-winded. Thank you, it's truly an honor. Thank you, HB.
Congratulations, Chris. All right, our fourth presenter tonight is a UMD Athletic Hall of Fame member himself, having earned that distinction some 9 years ago in recognition for an extraordinary, lengthy, and rewarding career behind the Bulldog men's hockey bench. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Mike Sertich.
Thank you. I'll give you a little update like Steve about where I've been in the last 13 years. I'm on probation now. Got my ankle bracelet taken off today, so I'm in good shape. don't drink, I don't smoke, and 2 out of 3 ain't bad. It is indeed an honor to be here. And congratulations to the new class of inductees into the Hall of Fame. I look around this room and I see so many of you that have played here, that are in the Hall of Fame. And I always wonder, what differentiates a player from being a player to becoming a Hall of Famer? And as I look around this room and I listen to the people that are here, I'm beginning to wonder that if it isn't the word character. And I'm beginning to understand fully what that really means. Because when you hear a person speak, and you hear a person acknowledge his family and his friends, it's much more than a reputation. It's what he is in the eyes of his God. And that's what character is. My mother used to tell me that character is what you are alone in the dark. And I never forgot that. And the fellow that I get to introduce tonight, you know, life really brings you in strange ways. I recruited the kid. I coached the kid. I coached against the kid. And now I'm coaching with the kid. It's amazing how this world turns sometime if you just give it time. I guess we could talk about him being an all-conference player here at UMD, being captain his senior year. I guess I could go on extensively about that, but I won't. Could talk about his pro days, 6 years in the National Hockey League, the American Hockey League, and in Sweden. I could talk about him being a 2-time Olympian captain in '92. I could talk about his 3 appearances with the U.S. national team. But the most fundamental thing that I've learned about Guy Goslin in all these years of being around him in different venues and in different situations, the one overwhelming thing that always comes back to me is his character. And that's why it's so easy for me to be here tonight to introduce this fellow. Because not just as a player, and not just as a colleague, but as a man who was developed from a kid from Rochester, John Marshall, who used to sneak in over the barbed wire fence so he could run the stadium steps. You can talk about commitment. You can talk about his earth-shattering blows that he dealt as a player. But the one thing that you all must remember about him is his character. And if you meet his parents and you see his family, you'll know exactly why he turned out like he did. So without further ado, it gives me great pleasure to introduce to you Guy Goslin.
It's really hot in here. And they knew they were going to make me sweat by making me go forth, so. Hey guys, you did a really nice, you did me justice on the plaque, so I don't know who did that, but thank you. You got a speech in here somewhere? I got to put my cheaters on too now. So, my girls are sitting over at the table and they're asking me if I'm nervous. I think I'm getting filmed at the moment, but pretty interesting. Thanks, Coach. That was awesome. He's always got great things to say. He's been quite a mentor to me. So, I've got a speech that my press writer here over at the table, my 18-year-old, helped me out with, but I absolutely butchered it up trying to follow these guys. So. anyways, congratulations to all the athletes. You know, what a huge achievement for everybody in here. I can really appreciate the hard work that everybody has put into this. This is just a huge honor for me. I was not one of the blue chip players. I had to bring my lunchbox to work every day. And so I'm very grateful for this award. You know, I've been talking to Serty quite a bit lately. Just on, you know, geez, I don't know what to expect here. And he said it's going to hit you like a ton of bricks when it does. And I happened to go up to UMD this morning because I've been waiting for it to hit me like a ton of bricks. And so I went in there and felt welcome like I always do. I mean, I've been coming back to school for 30-some years now. Sat down with some of the people in the athletic department, went through the plaques and started going through the plaques and reading. And actually, about halfway through, you know, I was very impressed. I know a lot of the people that are on that wall. About halfway through, I ran into a plaque that said Guy, Goose, and I said, holy cow, they already got this thing up. So that's when it hit me. Essentially, my knees buckled. I looked around to see if anybody was looking at me. It was kind of embarrassing, but wow, what a great feeling. I can't even tell you what a neat feeling that is to be able to go up to that thing and look at it. It's very impressive. So a lot of emotions hit me at that point. Again, I'm so honored to be here tonight. Very humbled by the company that I'm with. I have to recognize some people here tonight. You know, I mean, some of the old guard are here. Honey Bear, Rick Menz. A little story about Rick. Rick was the guy that sits on the committee that got to call me. And he was just tickled. I had just gotten done doing about a 3-hour seminar. I work for USA Hockey now and just was pooped. And I saw the number from Duluth and I thought, oh boy, who died? So, anyways, it happened to be Rick on the other end, and he said, well, you know, they're going to induct you into the Hall of Fame, and I just was absolutely blown away. I still can't believe it. We're going to have some fun tonight. I want to thank some people here that came out tonight. Not only Coach Sertich, he's a quality guy. You know, he's got huge passion for his players and did a great job. And we actually do some work together with the Paralympic sled team right now. Coach Sauer drove a long way. Jeff Sauer from Wisconsin, coached there for 20 years. He's the head coach on the Paralympic ice hockey or sled hockey team. I'm going to try to get these in and try not to ramble on, but former players, you know, Tano, Ike the man, the myth, the legend from the north here is in the house tonight. Bill Watson, Normie came back. He's right in the middle of training camp. You know, I mean, that means so much to me. I can't even tell you. Who am I missing? The Minnesota and the USA Hockey people. Great support. We've got a level 4 clinic going on this weekend. Mike McMillan, you know, USA Hockey National Coach and Chief. Ken Martell is one of our directors at USA Hockey. Last but not least, and these are all thank yous, and I feel very blessed to be up here. My wife, Lori, you know, we've been married for 24 years, going on 25. I think we still love each other. We dated for 8 prior to that, so it's been a long time. And then my girls are here tonight, Ellie, Carly, Ryland, and Sheridan. Thanks for coming up. And last but not least, my mom and dad, Gordy and Jenny, they're awesome parents. They were never helicopter parents. They let me kind of do what I wanted to do, and things worked out great. So thanks for all the years, and time and commitment from you. Thanks for everything. I really appreciate it. Guys, have a great weekend.
Congratulations, Goose. Our next presenter is best known for his outstanding work and commitment as an attorney. But what many of you might not know, that was a lot of years ago, many years ago. I was still here at this time. He was actually moonlighting as a host of a local sports talk radio show on WEBC radio here in Duluth. It was a great platform for him because I know he loves sports and he loves to talk and he's always got an opinion. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Fred Friedman.
Well, I still do have a sports radio show on public radio. I will never forgive people that canceled my contract here. So, name of the show is Full Fred, where people call in with silly trivia questions and I try to answer them. I'm here today to introduce, into the Hall of Fame, my friend Amy Bodine. In an era of specialization, indeed where we worship specialization, I'd like you to consider this. In the late 70s, 76 through 80, Amory was a running back with All-American credentials, concluded his career second all-time UMD in yards gained. Over the past 30 years, he remains sixth to this day in yards gained from scrimmage. In addition to that, by any story, any measurement, any anecdote, any barstool story, Amory is far and away the greatest punter in UMD history, by far. Greatest single-year punting, greatest career average, and think about the improvements in weights, muscle, training, everything in the past 33 years, and all the punting records still belong to Amory. We've heard a lot today, and I think it's dead true about families and all the folks that supported people. And I can't help but remark that all the people, all the children that get no support. Everybody here in this room is here because they got support from parents or whatever. Getting support as your child should not be a competitive business. It should be a right of birth, huh? So let's talk just for a second about family. Bob and Betty Bodine raised not one, but 6 Hall of Fame sons. 6. It just so happens that UMD is inducting one of them tonight into the Hall of Fame. I know he's a strong family man like all of his brothers, 4 of whom are here today. Strong family man, a father, a husband, a son. I know about this and I know about his honesty and all that because I'm Amory's cousin. And to show you how honest I know he is, for many years, Amory did my taxes. So I want you to think about having a dude from Miami doing your taxes. Here's who I know from Miami. A-Rod, Ryan Braun, and our next Hall of Fame inductee, Amory Bodine.
Thank you, Fred, for those very nice words. And a special thanks tonight to the Hall of Fame Committee. My wife, Carrie, and I appreciate the warm welcome and hospitality. And thank you all for coming tonight. It's nice to see so many friendly faces again. It's been a long time since I last wore a UMD football uniform, when Scott Lyons called me back in March to share the good news about my nomination, a few stories came to my mind. I'd like to share a few of those with you tonight. After I was released by the Minnesota Vikings for the last time, I went to work for a CPA firm in St. Paul, Minnesota. On a fall afternoon, I gave my mom a call and let her know that I was driving up to Duluth for a visit. She told me that she and Dad were heading out to a football game and she invited me to join them. Duluth Central was playing that evening and my brother Ralph was the head football coach at the time. I arrived at the game just in time for the start. It was a typical fall evening, cool wind off the lake, and a good chance of rain. I found my parents in the stands, and after some quick introductions to the people sitting close by, we turned our attention to the game. It didn't take long before it started to drizzle, and with the temperature dropping, I knew it wasn't going to be a pleasant evening to sit and watch a football game. Turning to my parents, I saw that they were really enjoying the game. They were cheering on the team, and they were making comments about each and every play that was being run. I remember saying to my mom, "It's one thing to play in this crummy weather, but how is it that you and Dad can sit here and actually enjoy the game?" My mom turned to me and said, "We've had a lot of practice." For over 20 years, my parents sat in those stands. It didn't matter if it was sunny or rainy, or whether it was a home game or an away game. You would find my parents in the stand cheering on their boys. And it wasn't just football. It was also basketball, track, choir, band, Boy Scout, and church activities. My father passed away a few years ago. I know he would have not missed tonight for anything. And neither would my mom, who is here tonight. And I would just like to take a moment and say, thanks, Mom and Dad, for always being there. We all remember Milosky, the coach who was roaming the sidelines, encouraging his players as only Milosky could. Or we remember him as the coach who would be edging out onto the field a couple yards, and he would be crouched over with his hands on his knees, his cap pulled down tight, focused on the next play. But it's the off-the-field coach Milosky that I want to share with you tonight. The coach that really drew me into the game of football as a young man. Every Sunday afternoon during the season, it was one of Milosky's rituals to post the team roster for the week. The squads, the white, maroon, gold, and greenies. The start to my freshman season was less than spectacular, and it was not surprising to see my name week after week listed as the 4th string greenie running back. One Sunday afternoon, midway through the season, I was surprised to see that my name was no longer listed as the greenie squad. I was now on the maroon squad, 2nd string, and backup to All-American Ted McKnight. After the season, I had a meeting with Milosky, and in that meeting, he told me about that Sunday afternoon when he had decided to move me up to the maroon squad. He told me that I had just been going through the motions on the greenie squad, and he moved me up because, as he put it, I needed to see if there was a football player in you or not. He went on to share with me what he thought the next couple of seasons might look like. He said he believed there would be some very good teams on the horizon, and he asked me if I wanted to be a part of those teams or not. Those good teams did come. From 1979 through 1981, UMD compiled a 27-3 win-loss record, and they strung together a 20-game winning streak. At the time, it was the longest in college history, and produced the first undefeated, untied football team in UMD history. Good teams have good players, and lots of them. Football is a team sport. 11 players on the field at a time, 30 to 40 players contributing to the outcome of any game. And when I think about my teammates, I'm reminded of something that Scott Hanna said to me after that 1980 season. Scott, as you recall, was the assistant football coach for that team. It was a late afternoon, and I was standing next to my locker when Scott came up to me and said, "You know, the guys I played with, we were tough. But you guys were good, really good." I'm proud to have been a part of those teams, and it's because of all those good players, the coaches, my family and friends that encouraged and supported me. It's because of all of them that I stand here tonight and humbly accept this award. Thank you.
Congratulations, Amory. Making the final presentation of the night is the former owner of a downtown Duluth furniture store some of you may recognize. This guy spent a lot of time on the golf course, and rumor has it he's quite the trick shot artist. I don't know if he's going to come up and demonstrate for us tonight, but he is here to make the next presentation. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Bill Avalon.
Well, I certainly am happy to be here myself. I was kind of happy to hear the young ladies tonight state that part of the reason they were here was because they had such good teammates. Maybe that was my problem. I was so lousy. I never had good teammates. I don't know. But anyway, it does give me great pleasure to introduce a great friend of mine and a fellow that I've known for quite some time. He has a lot of things going for him, but in the days we're talking about, he graduated from UMD in '63, and he is now an inductee into this 2013 Hall of Fame. Tom excelled at golf for 4 years at UMD, and in the late 50s and early 60s, he and his friend Ron Johnson led the UMD team to a third place finish in the NAIA golf tournament. And I'll go into that a little further later. Tom finished second and Ron finished fourth, and Tom was named to the All-American team, missing first place among all the golfers by 2 shots. Tom also led UMD to 4 MIAC titles, in which he placed at or near the top of all 4 years. And he attended UMD on a North Star scholarship. He won many tournaments locally around the country before and after attending UMD. And he won the region golf and took second in the state tournament when he was a senior at Denfeld High School. Tom also was a standout hockey player at Denfeld, but due to a car accident, he had kind of hoped he might be able to play both sports. He was unable to play hockey. Now we're going back quite a ways, and I'd like you to think about this. 1962, when they won that, I'll bet you probably half the class here wasn't even born then. How many were not born in '62? And I looked up some facts that maybe even startling us old guys that were 62 and 62. As we know, John Kennedy was the president. There were 186 million people in the United States. The Dow Jones average was 652, and it's 15,000 higher than it right now. The federal budget, this is a little surprise you, 107 billion, not trillion. The debt was 303 billion. A new home was really expensive, $12,200 was the average. And the average income, $5,500. And I have a reason for saying some of this. In 1962, Arnold Palmer won the U.S. and the British Open. And it was just quite a time. And in those days, not much attention was paid to a sport like golf. Hockey, football, basketball were the sports to talk about. And a couple of young guys from West Duluth that had hardworking families, didn't have a lot of money. Well, you see, nobody had a lot of money back then. There wasn't much there. And they were self-taught, come to UMD, going to play golf, and it was amazing. There was 143 teams in the NAI tournament, and I'm surprised that Lou Rickard, who had a pilot for each team had 5 players. Lou Rickard had to take his car because probably the people here told him he was nuts to go. And he took 4 players, and so they went with 4 players, and all the other teams had 5. And they all looked a lot better than our guys did. But anyway, they piled them in the car. Now, after the tournament, I'm sure most of you remember Bruce Bennett, our great sports director at the paper. He wrote this, I quote, "UMD's golf team has written a modern-day version of the Frank Marable story into Bulldog Sports Archives." He followed that even though they were sent off with good wishes, nobody really gave him a chance. Wow, what a year, unquote. Anyway, it was quite amazing in those days, and probably went sort of unnoticed except for people like Bruce. The scholarship he received was well used, as he has created or rebuilt numerous companies, saving and creating hundreds of jobs in the area and around the country. His current focus is on Moss Construction in Arizona, where he and his sons have run a very successful operation. He resides with his wife of 49 years. She looks a lot younger than him. Nancy Jost, who was a classmate at UMD. They have 3 sons, Bill, Randy, and Mike, and have 4 grandchildren. So I'd like to introduce to you Tom Moss.
First of all, I'd like to thank the committee for digging through the archives and even finding me. This goes back a long, long way. Well, we did have real golf back then. There was those goose feathers and things. And I'd also like to thank Dick Fisher. I don't think he's here tonight, but I know he did a lot of stick-hamming on my behalf and on the old-timers' behalf. I'd also like to thank Bill Avalon for the introduction, and my son Bill for digging through old scrapbooks and newspapers and finding information that was long forgotten. And my wife for all the advice and instruction she gave me prior to the speech. I couldn't do it all. I did go to Denville High School. I played several sports there, but primarily hockey and golf. We had really a good hockey team this was 1959. Sorry that Gus Henderson isn't here. In 1958, they were the big guns. They were going to win a state championship. We beat them 8-3 up in that one. But that's to knock them out of the tournament. But the following year, turnabout, we were favored, and we went up to Everett, and we got beat 2-1, which is a whole different story. The third period only lasted 9 minutes, and that was running time. When you went up to Ellis to play hockey, you played the city, the referees, the timekeepers, and sometimes it felt like that. Bob Johnson shaking his head, he knew exactly. I mean, if you want to get homered, you go up to Ellis. I also played golf at Denver. We had really a good golf team. In particular, Cubby Olson, for those who remember, Cubby was there, and of course Ryan Johnson and myself. We won the region and came in second in state. That's also what I did individually. Won the region, came in second in state. The year before that, I had won a Minnesota state. The JCs had a state tournament. I won that, and I was named Minnesota Junior Golfer of the Year, and I represented Minnesota in Tucson, Arizona, along with three other players from Minnesota. And this was really a big event because Jack Nicholson won it the year before, Ray Floyd won it, so really the best competition to possibly play with at that age. The college recruiters were out in force. You couldn't find a better place to go find a golfer than that group in Tucson. And that coupled with my state high school finish, that I had some offers, some golf scholarship offers. And however, my heart was with hockey. I played hockey ever since I was a little kid. And Connie Cleveland, who was the coach, just gives you an idea how far back this goes. Connie Cleveland was coach back then. He talked to me about telling UMD to play hockey. And it talked about a North Star scholarship and that. So my heart was set on going to UMD to play hockey. At that point, UMD had won about 40-some games in a row in the MIAC tournament. Ultimately, I think they ended up winning about 70-some games in a row. And Connie wanted UMD to start playing a much tougher schedule. And I mean, historians, the hockey historians would have to correct most of my story here, but the administration, apparently Connie and the administration had a difference of opinion and Connie resigned. That's about right, Bob, is pretty close. So Ralph Romano became coach. Anyhow, I ended up, like I said, I was 3 shots behind Steve and going to 17, and I had a chance to pick up a couple shots at 17. It was a 210-yard par 3, and I hit it in there about 4 feet away. And Steve had bounced it off to the right side of the green, and that a big thunderstorm opened up, and that by the time it had quit, Steve's ball ended up in casual water, and he was able to move it around in a more playable place. He was able to chip it up and make his putt for par. And I missed my 4-footer, so I didn't gain anything. 18, a hole I birdied 18, he parred it. I lose by 2 strokes. Good luck at the Masters. how it ended. So after college, I moved to the Quad Cities, with the Iowa, Illinois section. I did play a lot of golf. I mean, I played all the time. And I did win quite a few tournaments down there. The tournaments down there weren't flag tournaments. They were all, championship play. The pros and the amateurs played together. And so there were some things written, with the scores and different things that I won't get into. But at any rate, I did very well. Around 1975, I decided that I was going to quit golf, which I pretty much did. I definitely quit competitive golf and decided that I really had, again, for doing business myself, and I decided that I was going to be an entrepreneur, and I've been working for myself ever since, and really don't play much golf anymore at all. So. And my wife Nancy, I met her at the UMD cafeteria. We've been there for 49 years. So I have 3 sons and their wives that came here tonight. My 3 sons, I think 2 of them came from a long distance, Nevada and Arizona, and my sister and my friends that came tonight. And I certainly appreciate all of you coming. It really makes me feel good. I'm honored that you came to share this great honor with me. And again, to the committee, thank you very much for digging through the archives. I certainly appreciate it.
Congratulations, Tom. Now I'd like to call Josh back up for a few words.
Well, congratulations one more time. How about a round of applause for Karen Strummy and Bob Nygaard, despite a very busy summer, putting this together.
And to wrap up tonight's ceremonies, here is longtime Bulldog Athletic Department staffer and co-chair of the Athletic Hall of Fame Committee, Bob Nygaard.
Guy Goslin, you mentioned today about you having sort of a perspiration problem. I've seen some fat guys down at the ski room with the Y to sweat a lot less than you did tonight. Fred, so it's a good thing you wore black. Once he took out that sport coat. I want to personally, I've been here, and I know Roger Hansen's the other one, at every induction ceremony since the inaugural one in 1981. I want to think this is probably the smoothest it's run, it's the quickest it's been run. I want to thank the candidates and presenters for that. Steve mentioned earlier, historical night. We did induct our first women's hockey player, first soccer player, first full-time golfer. And Kyle, you were right, we didn't technically induct our first full-time baseball player, Bob Davis, who was the other, but he was more known for his umpiring. Also a historic tonight, Bill Watson paid for, first time he ever paid for his dinner. I always end this by throwing some numbers out, which I think are important. I try to express to the inductees. But since UMD Athletics opened its doors for business, as Steve said, way back in 1930, somewhere in the neighborhood, this is an estimate, and probably conservative, 5,000 men and women, coaches, have worn a Bulldog uniform or served on the staff. And with tonight's 6 additions, UMD Athletic Hall of Fame now includes only 115 individuals. I use the word only here because if you do the math, that figures out to be just a shade over 2%. 2% of the entire athletic alumni population. And that, folks, is what you call an exclusive club. It's what the UMD Athletic Hall of Fame Committee, which I am only but one of 9 voting members, has strived to maintain since its inception some 22 years ago, to make it truly distinct and unique honor to recognize the very best in Bulldog athletics. As a current co-chair and a member of the selection committee from day one, I've always taken an enormous amount of pride personally in the classes we've selected, and this year's collection of inductees is no exception. So on behalf of the committee, congratulations Maria, Jenny, Chris, Goose, Avery, and Tom on this much deserved honor. You've all done Bulldog athletics and the University of Minnesota Duluth proud. Thanks to everyone for your attendance this evening. I know it means a lot to the inductees. Don't forget again, soccer tomorrow afternoon, big blockbuster football game tomorrow night in Molosky Stadium. Housekeeping, all the inductees and presenters, we could have you come over here for a group picture right after with Ken Moran. Thanks again, everyone. Please drive safely and have a good night.